Yeah.
Um,
And what's going on, everybody? Uh, it's time for another episode of the Black City Podcast. Um, of course, with your host Steven and your other host David, bringing it back again. Is that your profile picture making that quack sound?
yeah, so Dorgormon
Okay.
sounds.
I was wondering what the Digimon was, but I couldn't. I couldn't. Obviously, I couldn't get the name right because I have no idea. But
You're learning.
I'm trying. But speaking of Digimon, today we have a special and going for not so special episode because one, announcements. Podcasts are going to be a little bit more shorter in the future, starting now.
It's law.
It is now law. It has been impressed upon all of you, and I mean, we like to for you to believe you had a choice, but you don't. So get used to it. But no, this will be better in the long run. You'll be getting more content, and in shorter bursts. It's something we're gonna try out, and yeah. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah, if you'll have thoughts about it, obviously share it with us, but this will hopefully help us have more varied content as well.
Yes.
Instead of back-to-back 3 episodes of Pokemon TCG.
Mm-hmm. In the spirit of that, we're changing things up. We're finally stepping out into the world of Digimon. That's right. That's right, little beeper.
Been ready.
And we've been talking about it for a while now. We just haven't really there's a lot of things going on with Pokemon that have kind of taken precedence, and you know, Digimon conventions and things of that sort, they happen, but they don't usually happen around us. So, and they're few and far between. Even events are also kind of spread out a bit more than obviously Pokemon, a much bigger franchise. Anyway, regardless, we wanted to have a pretty good way of kind of breaking into Digimon, and it's a show that we've been thinking about watching for a while. We've heard mixed reactions to this show.
Definitely mixed.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And the show being Digimon Ghost Game. This released a few years back in 2021, late 2021, and was apparently was initially not a Digimon show at all, but eventually got kind of repurposed into a main series for Digimon for the modern crowd. It obviously has all the ingredients to be a Digimon show. You have 3 heroes, or 3 plus heroes, and they're all children to some extent, and they all have their own Digimon partners as they solve, in this show, mysteries. Because in this world, Digimon are well, not Digimon, but in this world, holograms and things are kind of commonplace, but there's sometimes there are misdoings and strange occurrences that happen involving these holograms. So obviously, like, it enticed me because I like the idea. The way it was posed, as far as the trailers and stuff, some of the episodes, themes, that it was a much more, and this is from just a glance, it was like a much more potentially spooky and more stakes involved early on. So you know, let's so we've watched the first 10 episodes of that, and we figured we give our thoughts as we go through this nearly 70 episode long series, and hopefully we end up enjoying it. So this is our first checkpoint, essentially.
Yep, I won't say completely begrudgingly, but begrudgingly got through the first 10 episodes. This was a big departure from the series that came out the year prior, which was Digimon Adventure 2020. And with it being episodic in nature, at least initially, from what we've seen in the first 10 episodes, you more so had to get attached to the characters rather than like an overarching plot.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was both a good and bad thing, because it was a good switch of pacing of like Digimon 2020 is like known for having really bad pacing, and the plot just keeps going on, and like there's no time to like rest and like learn a lot about characters if you're not like Joe or Mimi or like Tentomon or something. But in this series, I don't know if you want to just jump into episode 1.
Yeah, but, let's do that because I think it's the intro episode, kind of sets the scene, right?
Yeah, so we start with the episode, like, you know, typical opening and stuff. It starts with like a happening of some sort, and at this point in time, we're just introduced to the world. And to Steven's point earlier, holograms and AI and such are commonplace in this modern fantasy setting. And there's this rumor that if people go into one of the school buildings at, I think it was at a certain time, the sewn lip man comes and hospitalizes you. And to what degree we aren't given like the exact explanation of what hospitalization means at this point. But you're shown this pretty chilling scene of this girl becoming very withered and looking like an old woman, but she was very clearly a couple seconds ago like a 15 or 16 year old, because this happens in a high school setting.
Yes. Yeah, and I think, yeah, it definitely sets the scene at first. Like you're like, oh wow, like there's going to be some stakes. Like she's aged up to like 80 plus, and then she's just kind of left there for dead. And then we see that it does still affect her because she's in the hospital. I believe they show her arm is still withered and everything. So it's like, oh, like, so this is serious. Like, we're going to see a potential near death on screen.
Right, and you have to think most Digimon series prior, they stay as far away as possible as they can from like humans getting harmed. And if humans do get harmed, it's like in the finale, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or they're blown up off screen or so far away. You don't know. You can't be for sure if, you know, they've been deleted.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, but that's like, and then we just, yeah, because then that happens, right? But then we immediately cut to our main protagonist, Hero. Yes. Oh, you know what? Whatever. Hero's a name.
It's
so
a name.
he is, I mean, he's just a guy. I think he's just a very capable guy, and that's kind of what his character is. He's very independent. He can handle himself. He's handy when he needs to be. He essentially has almost no flaws. But yeah, so he is at a what do you call it? I guess
almost like a boarding high school.
Yeah, a boarding high. Yeah, exactly. So a boarding high school, because his father mysteriously disappeared because he was working on a project and involving Digimon. Of course, that's in the show name.
Which, wait, interestingly enough, at this point in time, at least where we got to, Digimon are called Ghost.
Yeah.
And that obviously plays into the whole Digimon Ghost game aspect. But I think it's interesting that we're at 10 episodes in and they haven't even officially used the term Digimon in like normal conversation yet.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So again, I guess that kind of goes back to the original script not being for a Digimon show, or it could actually mean something further on the story. We'll find out. But yeah, this first episode is essentially just the introduction to the main character and, of course, his partner Digimon, Gamamon, who,
Woo!
Yeah, big fan. I mean, if you like Guillaumon, here's I guess a more baby version of that. He's very stupid.
Yeah. He is only motivated by food and curiosity.
Yes. Or bad vibes.
Yeah, as he describes.
Yeah.
I feel bad vibes over there. I'm going to smoke you now.
Yeah, he is definitely the vibe check of the group. For good and bad. But I do like his design. I enjoy the character when he's on screen, because he never, like, even if a scene is a very serious one, he usually has a side comment that has nothing to do with what's going on. And it's like, yeah, you know, like he's a big idiot. So, but you know, he's cute. So
someone will be dying in the background or getting kidnapped, and he's like off screen looking for like chocolate or something.
It's like, Hero, I need my champion. Bro, speak English. I mean, Japanese.
Speak correctly.
Yeah. So this first episode essentially is them bonding because they first met because the father is like, hey, you're like Yamamon's big brother now, and then he pieces out. Um, and then eventually they find Clockman and they have a fight. The fight is, I would give it points for here. At least it shows that, again, the heroes at least can think on his feet. Throwing the stick.
He adapted pretty quickly to having a partner.
Yeah. I mean, well, like, adapted to having a partner, but also, like, capable of being able to think in a fight very quickly. He understood, like, oh, this guy, like, fast forwards time, so this doesn't kind of make sense. But, like, I'll throw a stick and it'll turn into
A tree.
a tree. So I'm like, logically that doesn't make any sense, but like, all right, like, I'll give it up. Like, even like if you had thrown a sprout or something would have made more sense, but hey, yeah, that's fine. Whatever works for you. So, you know, we get the scene, we see the characters, and then that's pretty much episode 1. We're getting a brief showing of the other characters, but then yeah,
they kind of remain as like supporting characters until their partner Digimon are introduced, which I think is fine because we have a clear identity of like Hero, we have a clear identity of Gamamon, and I don't think they rush to like give you the entire cast, which is a criticism I've seen for like original Digimon Adventure, where here are your 8 kids and their partners. That's it.
Yep.
You know.
Exactly. So that kind of sets the scene. I think, do we want to just go ahead and introduce the other 2 characters as well? Just so we're not like waiting till their episodes to kind of talk about them.
Yeah, and I guess we don't even really have to go episode for episode. But the girl is Ruby, right?
I think it is Ruby, yeah.
Yeah. Ruby, who has Angoramon as her partner, is the female protagonist. She goes to a different school than Hero, and she doesn't she run a social media account for all the
so her social media account is like logging all of the ghost activity. Yeah. And she's a popular she's an influencer essentially, but I guess respectfully.
Yeah, and she honestly, I do like her character. She has a lot of initiative on her own, and she also is a good partner for Angoramon just because of his natural curiosity for like the arts in the human world, which is something that they kind of touch on, that the human world is foreign, and I think they do a good job of having that be a part of a lot of the Digimon characters' interests, especially like the villain characters who just don't understand humanity or like why things operate in such a way in the human world, like the Mummymon episode.
Mm-hmm.
Besides her and Angoramon, we have what's his name, Shiro or
Shiro, but Shiro for sure, short.
Yeah, so Shiro and Jellymon. Shiro is the smart tech guy, but he's also what's the word I can use? He's afraid of everything.
Yeah, he has extreme paranoia.
Skittish.
Yeah, skittish, extreme paranoia for ghosts, and yeah, can't remember where, but yeah, let's keep going. It'll come to me.
He makes like digital charms and wears physical charms to protect himself from ghosts and spirits and such. Which you come to find out his partner Digimon is the one who's been pranking him and scaring him and breaking through all of his protections that he's created.
For months.
But I guess worked at some point.
Yeah. And the partner Digimon being Jellymon. Yeah, so I mean, another new design. I don't mind the character. I don't mind. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's Kyo or Shiro at this short. I'm gonna call him Kyo Shiro from now on. But I don't mind his character. I do like his shenanigans he's up to, but you know, he's just a paranoid nerd. But you know, it's I guess a sense of a realistic approach to things. Like Hero's very capable. He takes everything on the chin for the most part. but Kyoshiro is like at a moment's notice, like, yeah, I'm backing out of this mission, or like I just won't be there that day. And like multiple times throughout the show, he's just like, I'm just not going to go with you guys. I have no intent to do so. Which is why his partner Digimon, Jellymon, actually has been the source of trouble multiple times. And I guess in a way that kind of that keeps him relevant, because otherwise he wants nothing to do with this.
Yeah, she keeps him in the plot more than the opposite. That's
yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. And I don't mind her character. I just, the whole Darling thing is whatever. But I've looked ahead, and like she's not the worst offender of this show for that. But it's just like, like that relationship it's okay. It doesn't get developed in a very great way so far from what I've been seeing, but it's just a Digimon is like tsundere but not, who just likes to torture her partner.
Yeah, I mean, it fits into this theme that apparently is relevant for the entirety of the show's run, about how Digimon are like naturally curious and interested in aspects of the human world, because when Jellymon's introduced, she talks about how she loves scaring him because she likes the idea of what his reactions could be, and like she's naturally inquisitive about why does he respond in such a way, and that's kind of how she ends up becoming his partner. Which, the way they became partners, I was curious what you thought about with the obvious advertising of the Vital bracelet.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Like, obviously you need to sell a Digivice somehow, right? And it's not like foreign from the series as a whole to kind of like work that in. I think as far as the story goes, it definitely does miss a couple of times as far as what it does exactly. But I mean, it's fine. I think it's not like as tasteful as like the Digivice in the original show, but they do function about the same. Like,
right.
So yeah, I have no real qualms with it.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I was gonna say something that I will like before we just like move on from the Digivice is something that the shows have struggled with in the past is for writing purposes. Digimon of certain levels couldn't compete with Digimon of higher levels. But I like how in Ghost Game, something that they've done well so far anyway, is the idea of vitals, which is like energy that you generate through the bond with your Digimon, can like enhance your Digimon's properties, whether that be like offensively, defensively, whatever, and allows for more diverse combat without breaking the quote-unquote rules of Digimon.
Yeah.
So I thought that was awesome that they implemented like some manifestation of the bond, allowing like Gamamon to fight Clockmon, who's of a higher level, because Gamamon's a rookie.
Yeah.
So it should have been like all mode.
Yeah, exactly. I do appreciate that, because instead of just like I have to get my level up, because like that's the only solution in these other shows, and this is like, okay, I don't have to change it to a new form. I can still manage.
Right.
And we'll kind of get into like how they do fights in the show, but I do like that aspect of that. So actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because I totally forgot about but I forgot just how useful the vital system actually is. So yeah, I mean, that kind of sets the scene, and that kind of gives an idea of what the show is. So now I would say it's time to kind of break down. I don't know if you want, like, I guess we can pick and choose what we want to talk about, because like, we're kind of getting
like episodes that like stood out and like concepts, because so the first 10 episodes, like we said, because it's episodic, a lot of stuff that happened was like inconsequential to the plot or the characters' developments.
Yes.
Even like the two forms Gamamon gets, Beto Gamamon and I think Kaus Gamamon was the flying one.
Yes.
He seemed to be the same strength as he was in base form, but they have different properties. So like Betel Gamamon gives him fire projectiles, and Kaos Gamamon lets him fly, which obviously lets him fight flying enemies a lot better. I thought that was cool conceptually. It was a similar vibe as like Digimon 02 with arm revolutions. So in a way, I guess the episodic nature of the show allows for the characters to grow and develop without there being like the plot getting in the way of character development, I guess, is how I want to phrase that.
Without the forceful need to power creep, right?
Right, exactly. But I guess if we want to like just talk about episodes, the one that I liked a lot was episode 3 with Drakmon.
Oh, with the
and they did a little bit of like body horror.
Yeah, with the weird eye hand guy.
Yeah, so I don't like that, obviously, but I thought the concept was interesting because I was like, yeah, that would suck. Like, could you imagine a part of your body disappearing and everyone is like treating it like everyone else does not know what's going on, but they think you're like crazy, right?
Yeah, I thought because this episode, I kind of agree. This is a good one because it kind of gave me the idea of what the show was going to be. I thought the first 2 was going to build the scene, and then you get to 3, and it's like, okay, like there are some stakes. You have the guy who got in a car accident because the scribbles caused his leg to stop working. And you have the lady whose hair kept growing. So like just, like curses and stuff. And you see like, like some Japanese culture stuff, but like, it was like, okay, cool. We're back to stakes again. Like, is this going to be a main character who's doing this to these people? But it was a good episode in that sense. So I was like, okay, yes, like this is actually like a mystery to solve. And then when it happens to Ruli with the arm or her hand missing, it's like, okay, like there's something to see here. But yeah, I mean, it was a good episode in my opinion. I didn't have too many qualms except hand eye guy. Don't like that.
Yeah, it's nasty, but I think the Digimon they picked so far as villains kind of fits the horror aesthetic.
Yeah.
Or like spooky. I wouldn't even say it's horror, but like, like that genre of aesthetic fits really well with who they picked as villains thus far.
Yeah.
Well, not all of them.
Not all, yeah. Well, we're getting there. Well, about this episode, we can see Hiro get punched in the face, but I think this is funny because like a Digimon punching. Because Angoromon is all about, I don't want to get into the human world, makes things more complicated. And the first thing he does when he materializes is punches Hiro in the face. Oh man.
Nothing's off limits.
Yes, absolutely. For me, so I'm talking about likes, I will say episode 4 actually right afterwards with Pumpkinmon. That was another like actually holding up to like the horror aspect of it for a little bit because I mean Pumpkinmon he misunderstands what it means to be a friend because he thinks Halloween is all about him, which is funny.
Right.
But what he does to he kidnaps the people at the school, forces them to wear a pumpkin on their head, and then carves the pumpkin while it's on their, like it is kind of like, oh man, like I that would be horrifying, or that's messed up. But it did set a good scene. The only issue I have with that episode is how they solved it. Well, there's a few things like how did that happen? Like, what is their plan? And things aren't really explained. And I think it's kind of like a broader thing with the show is that problem solving is kind of an ass pool a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's the closest thing to an uneducated guess that you could get.
Yeah, because like in this episode, they're like, yeah, okay, like what if Hiro's got a plan? Okay, what is it? I'll act as bait, and then you guys just follow me.
And then we'll fight them in like the hallway down like 20 feet from here, and that'll make us have an advantage.
Exactly, because they go into this room, it's like, "Ha, we've got you right where we need you." It's like this is just another classroom.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah, no, you're right. And at this point, they can fight in the digital world too. So like, they didn't even have the excuse of, "Oh, we might hurt the other people." Like, no. Come on now.
Come on. They're already traumatized.
Yeah, but I will say, like, especially the way that whoever did the direction for the episode, we don't know if those people are alive or okay until the mystery is like solved.
Yes, exactly.
Which I thought was really good because we see people's bodies get dragged into this back room, and you just see them stabbing people with the knife, and you think the worst, and they do that on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. So that part, it's just sticking to landing, I feel like, with this show. Because I feel like everything else about the episode was really good, and then it just kind of drops. Because you even get some kind of like more details about Hiro himself, and that he's kind of a yes man. Because he'll just kind of because like they're building up the props and everything at the school, and then Ruli's like, hey, so like you'll just do anything that I asked you to do for this, huh? And then he goes, I guess it's just easier to just say yeah and just do it, which is like a little bit more, that's more development for the character, at least. Like there's some things going on that will continue on later on to the show. So they have good points. It's just that sometimes it's just like, okay, and then now a fight scene that makes no sense. Okay, well, is what it is.
What? I have all of them. I just realized this looking back.
Mm-hmm.
The worst episodes were 6, 7, and 8, and they're all next to me.
Yeah. All right, you want to just go down the list for these, because.
All right, number 6, episode 6, the cursed song with Siren Mon as the villain, was horrible. The way everything was solved was Hiro sang like crap, and then Siren Mon stopped.
Well, because she was like, "Oh, you sang from the heart."
That was it.
Like,
yeah, she was scaring people, and she sings horribly. She's a siren,
right?
And she was like trapping people and messing up the karaoke machine. So it was also like an inconsequential like issue as well. Like, oh no, we can't do karaoke in this one building.
Right. Because if they had just left it alone, that would have been the end of it. It would have been a cursed karaoke joint, and no one really died. They just got kind of freaked out. So yeah, I mean, the stakes were low, and then they made it worse by trying to entice her out. And she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna sing to everybody in town now." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." But yeah, like it.
Yeah, Hiro just tells her like, "Okay, screw off." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go practice singing like you."
Yep.
See ya.
Bye.
Episode end. Next episode, not talked about.
Man, yeah, like that was really bad. I didn't like Siren Mon's design really either, to be honest. And that's less of the show more than Siren Mon's design, but you know, to have a villain who hasn't been shown throughout the entire time this episode's been airing, and then at the very end it's like, oh, it's just a chicken. Okay. So, like, again, not a whole lot there. I think the fight too wasn't that great because the win con was just like, just fly higher, just fly out of the forest.
Yeah, dude.
And then she can't shoot.
Think about that.
Yeah, she can't shoot you now. I was like, no, I can still shoot you.
Oh man, yeah, that was the win con.
Yeah.
Remember, after they couldn't fly, Hiro just starts basically screaming and like destroying our ears, and she's like, "Okay, yeah, see ya."
Right, like it's just like that the fact that his bad singing solved the issue. One, that he thought that would work, but two, that like I understand now. Singing doesn't have to be good. You just have to come. It has to be honest. I was like, okay, well that doesn't mean you to leave. Like, if I would still go back to the karaoke place and start singing again. Like it doesn't make any sense. Exactly. But I guess it worked. That was episode 6. I mean,
and then we're followed up with
episode 7, Birds.
This might be my least favorite. It's a hard thing. It's either 6, 7, or 8 for sure.
It's 7 or 8. Yeah. Out of the 3, this is the biggest offender of this makes no sense.
And like this is like a plot that. This is a plot that you would throw away and would not get past people like at the table approving episode plots and stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's so obviously I guess plot summary. A bird owner sees one night he's feeding his flock, and then he is approached by a knight by Chromon, who forces all the birds to be released, and then somehow Chromon can have control over the birds to do his bidding, and his bidding is to release more birds. So we cut to
time out. Release more birds to give them the agency to choose to be with their masters.
I see.
Team Plasma Chromon.
Ah, yes. How could I forget? So then we cut to this one girl named Mika who has their little finch kidnapped
Yeah.
by birds. And then she screams and then goes to Ruli's social media account to say, hey, there's some birds being kidnapped. And that's pretty much the theme for the entire episode. They're trying to figure out who's kidnapping these birds, why are these birds being released. And we eventually come down to the guy who originally had his birds kidnapped, joins Chromon and simps for him because he understands the plight and he wants birds to be free as well, even though he owned several birds himself. But I guess he came to enlightenment. So the plot itself is stupid. Because
that's saying it nicely.
Yeah. But I think what's even worse is it kind of has all the fallings or the failings of the other parts of the episode we just talked about. The fight wasn't very good. The resolution made no sense. And then it ends and it's just another episode. There's nothing to be gained from it.
Yeah, the story beats are really bad as well. It's like we're introduced to Chromon. Nothing is explained about how he can control birds, by the way. That's also just not a power he has if you go on his wiki page in the official Digimon compendium. So he can just do that because his name's Chromon, I guess.
Yes.
And the bird keeper, which you already brought up, who just decides to join, he believes that he can like become a bird or something, or can be free from his like mortal toil by helping Chromon free like domesticated birds.
He's looking to get a favor after he does all this work. I see.
Yeah, it was a pathetic episode.
Yeah, I just, there's not much to say. Like the fight scene literally ends up digivolving into Chaos Gamamon, and then he lands one hit. By the way, we didn't mention that Chromon's attack basically eats data. If you get hit by it, you die if you're a Digimon.
Yeah, exactly.
And Gamamon hits him once, and Chromon's like, you beat me. You got me good. You landed a hit on me. I guess I'll go. And I'll even let some of the birds go who want to leave. And, and that's it. that's how that...
GG's, I guess.
Like, what the heck, man? Like, just a nothing episode. And,
Also, mind you, Chromon is ultimate level.
Yes.
And he took one hit from a champion.
Yeah, he sold. He said, I didn't need to fight this. I need to just move on with my life. So I mean, that was it. Like that was the episode. Nothing else to say because that was it. There was nothing else.
He left and they went home.
Yeah, exactly. And we're all sitting here like, surely there was a point to this. So episode 8. Okay, so this one actually has like a big, what the hell moment. And I'm just gonna bring it like now because like Sistermon, what? So you had told me that yes, this is not this character at all.
Dude, and no official source material will lead you to this version of Sistermon.
Oh, so liking go-karts, having a knife,
katana,
katanas, guns.
Also being like, I forgot the character archetype, like Yandere or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just like she's like no value for human life, like crazy, obsessed with.
Oh, you mean psychotic? We have a word for
that. Mentally ill. Yeah, this is not Sistermon.
So, just real quick. So the plot starts when Jellymon's like, I showed Sistermon about go-karts. And she was like, and Sistermon obsessed with being the greatest, fastest, strong, whatever. It makes no sense. She's riding on the go-kart, and then she signs a deal with... I'm sorry. Metal Phantomon and says, "Hey, let's have a race with all these Digimon, and if they lose, you can kill them." Like, okay,
GG.
GG's, I guess. See you tomorrow with the same thing. So basically, these other random Digimon who are here are just put into hell, and they have to do this for the entirety of their lives, and they're okay with it, which I think is ridiculous. Like, just I don't know.
Nah, dude. I don't know who that one random red bug Digimon was, but he was like, I can't take
Yeah,
it anymore.
Caesar Jr. No shot.
I can't take it anymore. Soul gets absorbed by the actual Grim Reaper of the digital world.
I just hate that he died because we just need a visible representation of what happens if you left. As if they didn't already tell us that they couldn't do it.
Literally the scene before they tell us.
So,
You know what? I'm explaining the rules to you. Yeah, I'm gonna die. Just to let you know.
so like, he's in earshot. He knows what's going to happen, but he did it anyway.
And at this point, the like whole rule about Digimon being reborn and stuff from digital world, we don't know if that's a thing in the Ghost game universe.
Right.
So he could just be dead.
Potentially.
You're not becoming an egg, my guy.
Yeah, it was definitely like, oh, okay, rest in peace now, I guess. So obviously it's like, all right, well, what's the issue? Because now everyone's got to fight in this race, and they all race, right? They race to win, and they can't win because Sistermon's just too good, and she's too threatening. So they pull something from episode 1. We didn't mention it, but in episode 1, there was a black cat Digimon who looked like they were just hiking or something. I don't know. They were going to school, but so they just showed up and then disappeared. He pointed to Gamamon and said, "Look, he exists." And then this episode, it showed up again and was like, "All right, portal," and it had dropped this thing, set a portal, and then all the Digimon got sucked into who knows where. It wasn't explained. Then they all got saved, and Sistermon's like, "And here I can be the strongest, the fastest," and then they all go in, and then that's episode end. So, like, honestly, I didn't really have like my issue with this episode was just like, why is Sistermon insane, and why did we just have to have a go-kart episode? And also, I will say the one Chad, the animation was really bad.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not stereotype or anything, but usually when there's a racing episode, there are at least some frames of movement in the car or something like that.
No, it was just the characters sitting, you know, like those old animations or like those old toys even where a still image is sitting on a background that is made to look like it's moving.
Yeah, like an old school. That's what we got. Yeah, old school animation frame where it's just slide in. Yeah, there's really an egregious scene. I'll try to pull it up where it's just like, yep, they just slid on in. There was no animation, and that was the cut they chose. And it was at that point I started to kind of see the hole in the seams, the tears in the seams. It's like, yeah, this kind of was like for a budget. I can understand why, but like that was pretty bad, pretty bad. So I mean, I don't consider this one the worst out of the 3 because it was on the tail. I think it's because it's on the tail end of the last 2 we watched, but this was still bad. It was just kind of like a culmination of everything on a lighter scale. But yeah, definitely was not impressed with this episode either because, oh yeah, I forgot about the car accident at the start of the episode. Someone, like, pretty sure they died though.
Yeah. Someone's car explodes at the start of the episode.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the reason. It's like, oh, Sistermon's running this illegal racing scene and getting people killed. And for what? Because she wants to be the fastest. Okay.
Yep. And we never heard from him again.
Nope. She's gone. She's in her own happy place.
Yeah. I will say another issue I have with the episode is the stakes during the race were made up. Like, just on the fly. Randomly, everyone's car started to have issues, and then no one had the power or ability to solve the issue, and they had I don't know if it'd be like considered a Deus Ex Machina, but all of a sudden, Black Gatomon opens backpack and Portal comes and saves everyone. GG.
I put it up there because it was never. We hadn't gotten any, like, as a viewer, we had gotten nothing on what this Digimon does. So
Right.
it was just like, okay,
Yeah.
Aspel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that aside, I know we're kind of getting close to the end of this session,
Hmm.
but my favorite episode, hands down, and it probably will be for a while. I loved episode 9,
Let's see.
the warped time where
Yeah.
Hero's
Hmm.
perception of time was messed up. I was like, this psychological horror, this is awesome, and it was a continuation of a previous villain from before.
Hmm. I enjoyed this for a couple of reasons. For that, and then we also got some backstory on the Digimon world. Because here we meet Bokumon and Bakumon, who they just like haunting the library, but they just like reading books. So,
Right.
which is like, it's fine. I think and it leaves some things that actually, oh, this is actually interesting. Like, why is Bokumon interested in Gamamon? Because he always wants him to come back, gives him a lot of treats and everything, and there's something about Gamamon that he finds interesting, even though he's a Digimon himself. So interested to see where that goes. Like there was now like something to be looking forward to in the rest of the show, right? Because like right now we've just been getting, oh no, this the
There are
time.
birds outside.
Yeah, there's birds outside. Oh, someone stole all my birds. What's going on? And then we have to
My goodness.
we have to punch sister. We have to punch a nun because she's slitting people's throats.
Right.
Like what the heck? Causing car accidents. Yeah, this one was really cool. My only gripe is reminded it's a kid's show because when they save Clock Mind's like, you know what? Y'all pretty cool. Guess I'll stay at the library even though I just mentally tormented this child. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I will say that was my only gripe with the episode, but after the Mummymon incident, I was like, okay, some of these characters will be redeemable. But because as a person who watches Digimon, some of the stuff they've done is like worse than what some of the like main villains have done in previous Digimon series.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of messed up that he almost killed multiple people in episode 1 and then
Enjoyed
this episode,
it because he says in the show that like, oh, I enjoy watching people having their time age. Just like, what the.
Right. So like this is someone who's clearly like a villain, and it's not like oh, we had different rules in the digital world. It's like I simply enjoy people's lives slipping from their bodies. But then he gets murked, and then because he gets saved from someone he's intimidated by, yeah, I'll study at the library, haha. Alright, bro.
Right. Like,
but still, I love this episode. That's why my only gripe, and it's a minor one.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Obviously the fight wasn't like the big part of it, so it's good stuff. And then we have the final episode, Game of Death, where Kyoshiro, he needed a development point at some time, right? So
He had to shine eventually.
yeah, because actually I'm thinking about it, there was another episode, but it was such a nothing episode. We're skipping it. So Kyoshiro's like, I am goated at this game, this fighting game, and everyone's kind of like in on it, like it's a popular VR fighting game. So when you lose the special,
when you win 20 games.
Well, you win. Okay, that's right. If you win 20 games, you get a special round where you fight a special character who is actually a Digimon, and if you lose to her, you're kidnapped and you're put into a giant booze bottle. So the Digimon in question for this episode are Kinkakumon
and Gingaku.
Yeah, exactly.
It's off Japanese folklore, the golden sword.
Yeah, anyway. So people like her because she's a hot girl is how all the characters describe her.
Yes. That's why
They're
they
like,
keep playing the
you
game.
win 20 battles, you see this babe, and it's like, okay.
Well, if you keep saying it, but then all your friends disappear, surely something's up. Like, I guess we want, it's like, oh man, she kidnaps you. I'm like, all right, well, that's another whole other problem, but.
Right. Some people are like, yo, for real?
Oh God.
But what did you think of like the quote unquote stakes in this episode? Like them becoming digital booze and then dying? Like,
it doesn't make any sense. That was my biggest issue. Is like, why are they converting into data? Like we know that people can enter the digital world through other means, but just through a VR headset, like I would think, like as far as like a world building thing, there's probably bigger issues happening if this is the case. What's going on? It seems like this crossover between worlds is fairly new, but it just I don't know. It kind of didn't make any sense. I thought it was kind of like it was visually funny, because of all the people who only way to get into this is trying to chase cakes, and then you're dumped into the booze, which has a appearance of a booze I've never seen before, but
it was milky.
yeah, exactly. So it was funny. It was funny to see the gourd clip, but
yeah, it was odd.
But as far as the stakes go, I don't know, because like I guess it wasn't like bad. It was written in a way, okay, they could finagle something together and make this work. People are willingly jumping into it, so that's their own faults. But I don't know. Like at this point, I was like, I just want to be done, and get this last episode out of the way, because, and truly, what I was more pained about was the fight scene. Yeah, because I mean, we did get Tesla Jellymon.
It's an upgrade to me from Jellymon base.
I agree. She's still annoying because now her whole shtick is that she's streamer girl. But at least it's not like streamer girl bad.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. She's just obnoxious about it.
Exactly. So like it's fine. Again, it comes down to the animation not being quite there, and their excuse being that it's a video game and an anime. It doesn't have to look as good. I'm like, well, you know, come on, bro. Look at isekais.
Yeah, the whole budget went to the Digivolution sequences, which are like 6 seconds, which is really toned down from previous series where they are like a minute each.
Yeah, exactly. You know, good or bad on that, as long as it looks good. But yeah, it was. I would say this episode was like a solid 6-7. Like it was a good way to end our first run, because at least it wasn't the garbage we sat to. Not 9.
6, 7, 8.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, because that was. Yeesh.
It got hard, honestly. Like the bird episode, we were considering like just stopping.
We definitely took a break, and it was very frustrating. I think when I first watched it, because I will say I watched a couple of these prior to our initial or our watch we're talking about now. I completely forgot how dumb the bird episode was. I knew it was stupid, but I didn't. Every beat was inane BS.
It could not be in the show, and everything would be the same.
Yes, I would say the same for some of these other episodes. Episode 8, but yeah, something there, I guess. But that's the first 10. So, overall thoughts?
Yeah, so I know we were like, it's really easy to talk about the stuff you're critical about more than the stuff you like. But I will say, like, I enjoyed this enough that I want to watch another 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Some episodes were absolute losers, but there were like some winners in here as well. And the cast thus far, I don't mind them. Like I really like Hiro and Ruli, and Shiro is like, at first he was annoying, but now his partner in Digimon's more annoying, and I feel somewhat sympathetic for him. So, you know, it all rounded out into a cast I could enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. I think like that's the most important thing, right? Like, do you like the recurring characters more than anything? And these three and their partners are entertaining to watch nonetheless. They doesn't get too bad. Sometimes Jellymon's antics, like, why did you cause this to happen? Like, you knew people were gonna die, and you did it anyway. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, someone who's living with another human who would have told them otherwise. But again, like, yeah. Despite that, like, they're entertaining to watch, and you know, I don't mind I like their personalities. And you know, I do like right now. I'm really liking Gamon's design. Again, like he hasn't done anything too much, but I can tell there's potential. That's what's kind of the biggest thing about the show. Is like, does this plan to go on any further? And I can't say for sure because obviously it's the first 10 episodes, so the stakes are extremely as low as they could possibly be. But we're getting bits and pieces of a overarching story that we're probably soon to be delivered upon. There's only 70 episodes or 67, whatever. So I mean, I'm hopeful. I just think that there are some red flags for what the animation, some of the storytelling or the plot points not being super great. I can see that extending onto the later episodes, but it could be something.
It has potential.
Yeah, I'm 6 out of 10 optimistic, right? Like that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not
Only
bad.
3 absolute dog water episodes, but you know, what's 3 out of 10?
Yeah, and even if you have odds like that, that's only like 21 out of 70. We can do this.
Oh man,
We can do this.
I can't deal with 21 episode 7s.
Only if they're not back to back, I can stomach it.
That's true. I've watched every Naruto filler.
Oh, that's more than 21, buddy.
Yep.
All right.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I hope you all enjoyed today's episode of the Black City Pod.
Yeah, and we'll come back with this topic. I don't know, probably in a month or so. I don't know. What do you care? You'll get it when we give it to you.
Yeah, but we'll obviously be talking about other topics in this more shorter form. I don't know how long we ended up going, but trying to like stray away from just Pokemon, but also still wanting to have more digestible chunks or episodes, you know?
Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
Yep. Share all your thoughts. Bye.